There's a big black cloud out there. I'm sure it's full of rain. Palm trees on the beach. Can you hear the water? It's not knock you over type water, but there are waves and they're going 24 hours a day, splash, splash. But then what do you expect from the sea? Just listen a minute. And you see what I see over there? There's a yellow tree, and guess what? Sunbird, or something very similar. I don't think you can see it because I'm not zoomed. I'll go over there in a minute and have a look, closer look. This is the museum in Bridgetown in Barbados, made of, located in very old buildings, as you see. I'm not allowed to take photos inside, but I don't think it matters about outside. This is a memorial to 14 soldiers and one married woman who were killed in the awful visitation of the hurricane, which, by the way, is an African word. Amerindian word. I've just found out. It's not an English word at all. In 1831, I've heard about this hurricane many times before. Apparently, it was the worst there was here. Generally speaking, this is not sort of central to the hurricane belt, but they do have hurricanes. And they had one short time ago, and it was the first one they'd had since 1955. There it is. George Washington's house was military at one stage, private at one stage. It's called George Washington because he was here with his brother who had tuberculosis, 1751, something like that. Then it was taken over to become part of the garrison. All around here was the home for thousands of British troops from the in the middle of the 18th century to the end of the Napoleonic Wars. Now they're closed, probably because of COVID, and they're taking the opportunity to do some renovations. And this kind gentleman has stopped to allow me to take a photo. Thank you, sir. In British times, this was the garrison. Behind me is the Garrison Savannah, with thousands and thousands of soldiers. And this building here, which I've seen, I don't know, in postcards or pictures or something like that, must be quite famous. It calls itself the Main Guard. It's an office administration building at the moment. Back there, that seems to be connected to it because it's in the same brick, same colour. And this is the Garrison Savannah. I don't think these guns have been fired for an awful long time. There seem to be a lot of them. I don't know whether they came off a ship. I count about 20 of these guns. Wow. I've seen cannons. I've never seen so many cannons in one place before. And apparently underneath here there are lots of tunnels. And you can get into them from the George Washington house, which, like everything else, of course is closed. And there are specialist tours that you can take to go down the tunnels. They were dug by British soldiers 200, 300 years ago. This is interesting. You see a lot of these in India. Tombstone dating 1779 with an English name. 37 years, they didn't live very long in those days. And some massive family tombs here. I don't know if they're inscribed, I can't see any names. But it just seems so funny you go to a tropical island like this and you see a typical Oh, this is very recent. 1978, 1902 to 1978. 1905, 1992. Helis and Gittins. Sounds European, doesn't it? Yeah, in the middle of nowhere you find an English country church. How did it get here? What's it doing here? It's 2004. These are very, very recent, a lot of them. So 1700, some of them. Nice looking church as well, a little bit dirty. Needs to be renovated. Now this is an interesting one. Adams, Sir Grantley Herbert Adams. I think the, the airport's named after him. Let's see what it says. Leader of the government and Premier of Barbados, 1946-1958. Prime Minister of the West Indies. The West Indies was, for a short time, and you can actually see it here, 1958 to 1962, was one country. They were encouraged to form a federation, but I think they ended up squabbling because, you know, the Premier of Barbados and of Trinidad, no, they wanted to go their own way. They wanted to have their own way. They wanted to do their own thing. They couldn't agree, and they separated after 4 years. So he was the first and only Prime Minister of the West Indies. And after that, the West Indies as an entity was dead, and the other colonies were formed. Not colonies, ex-colonies, obviously. The other countries were formed. Sir Grantley Herbert Adams. I'm trying to remember that. 1898, 1971. So I'm now in the number 11 bus going from Bridgetown to St Lawrence. And the nice thing about being in a bus like this is you get music as well. Great. You got to hold tight though. I don't know what you think about it, but this is not good singing. The guy's out of tune, but it's music, you know. After a couple of beers you don't notice. I haven't had a beer yet, by the way. I don't drink this early. So this is the next beach to me. Sun's shining, clouds have gone away. I'm getting stared at, I don't know why. Maybe because I haven't got swimming costume on. That pier at the end of the water there, I think that's where my hotel starts. In fact, you see a roof? I think that is my hotel. Not sure, but I think so. Somebody's enjoying themselves. Somebody's actually dancing to the music. She doesn't know that it's out of tune. It's the world famous Oystons fish fry. You know, the one that we go to in the next to the beach? Well, this is something similar to that, same idea. Except I think we'll get a beer to go with it. Let's see. So what shall I have? I think I'm going to have flying fish with French fries and maybe coleslaw and a beer, of course. Let's see. And the fire's just round there. I'll show you it in a minute. Oh, yeah. It's going to be terrific. So a little bit, what do they call it? Rustic, I think, is the word they used. Queue's building up. I'm glad I got here early. So I've got to go back in 10 minutes. Actually what I ordered, but it doesn't matter, it was my second choice anyway. The thing was, the conversation went like this: flying fish, yeah, and chips and coleslaw. It doesn't look like coleslaw to me, but anyway, and yeah, that was flying fish. And then she said, you know, it's fried. So then I said, oh no, shrimps. And she said, let me explain it to you. They're all fried and then they grill. They fry and then they grill. So then I thought I explained to her that I'll stick with the frying fish, but she thought I was sticking with the shrimps. But frankly, I don't care. Shrimps is also good. Let's see what it's like. Make you feel hungry? Can you ever busier?